Hello, it's good to see you. Today, I wanted to show you just a few things I found at Goodwill, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about going to school and being in a high school. Somebody asked me to make a video about any advice for kids. I can't remember exactly how it was worded. I'm sorry. It was in a comment in a video, and now I can't find it. Wanted some advice for kids either going into high school or leaving high school or just starting college. And I don't know, I don't have any notes or anything. I was just going to make some off-the-cuff remarks. So, but first I wanted to show you these cool little things I found at Goodwill today. I just went in there to see what I could find, and this was the first thing I spotted. It's a little sparkly, a little wall decoration, and it says, "Have a hippie day," and it has a Volkswagen bus on it, and it's totally sparkly. It has this greenish, like a seafoam green colored, sparkly glitter stuff all over it, and now it is on my hand. This was apparently from Dollar Tree. It was still wrapped in the original plastic and had the price on the back of the plastic. And it was from Greenbrier, which I think is like a Dollar Tree thing, because it seems like a lot of their stuff has that Greenbrier name on it. So I think this originally came from Dollar Tree. I've never seen anything like this in Dollar Tree, but I thought that was really cool. And it has a thing on the back where you can hang it up if you want to use that. You can. I have no idea where to put this. I have so much stuff on all of my walls already, but I really wanted that, so this was the first thing I got. It's not wood, it's made out of this weird, it's like thick, fancy cardboard, basically. But I thought that was really cool. I have a kitten sleeping in here with me. She's on the bed. Oh, and I need your help. If you have any ideas for barrel casking, anything that she could do, because I found two tops in Goodwill. Here's the first one, and it has this cool animal print, and it's this lacy material. I'd have to wear something under it, like it's really, yeah, I could wear like a black tank top under it or something. But I thought this would be perfect for Beryl to wear, but I don't really have any ideas for her. So if you have any ideas of a video I could do with her, just let me know. So there's that one, and I found another one. And I got this one too. Now this one, oh, I got it backwards. This is a cold shoulder top, and it already has a lining in it. It has this black nylon lining in it, so you don't have to actually wear another shirt under it. But it has this cool animal print. And it's a cold shoulder top, kind of, because it's open. The sleeves are open up here, like that. It's from, let's see, who made this? By and By, it looks like. But I thought that was really cute. And it has this gold metallic thread running through it. It's very subtle, but there's a little bit of a gold metallic thread to it. And they had this animal print bangle bracelet, but it was $5, and I didn't really want it that bad. I thought, well, I would just wear it in one video, and I would never wear it again, so I didn't get the bracelet. But this one is cool because it's like it has multiple types of animal prints. Look at it, it's not all one style. You have this type down here, and then you have kind of tiger stripes. It's just cool how it's all different. And then it has this black lace around the neckline. And this is from Karen Kane. And it's long sleeved. And again, of course, this one I would have to wear something under it, but that's okay. But I don't really have any ideas for Beryl. I don't really have anything for her to do. So if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them, because I have the wig, I have the tops, you know, I just don't have anything for her to do, so that would be really helpful. When you're talking about, okay, so that was it. That was all I had for Goodwill. I bought a pair of boots, but they're downstairs, and they're not really remarkable in any way. I just thought they were cool. And they're downstairs, and I'm up here. So somebody had a request. They wanted me to talk about just advice on going to high school or college, just that transition, And one thing about these, when I give advice, it's just remember, I'm not an expert. My opinion isn't any more valid than anyone else's. I'm not an authority on anything. It never fails. Every time I give advice, somebody will always send me a message or comment and say, well, your advice doesn't fit my specific set of circumstances, so you're full of crap and you need to stop giving advice because it doesn't fit my life. It's not going to fit everybody's life. There is no one size fits all advice for anything. There's really not, other than, don't put your hand on a hot stove. Don't do that. That's stupid. It really hurts. So you can take it or leave it. You can take what you can from it. But I know, especially for this fall, school is going to be weird. I don't know what country you're in, but I know here in the USA, I seriously doubt when the kids go back to school this fall that it's going to be like normal. I know here where I live, they haven't decided what they're going to do yet. Everything's kind of up in the air, which has got all of us parents like, well, we don't know how to plan for that. We don't know what's going to happen. And the schools don't know either. So we're just waiting to see what they decide to do. But I'm sure whatever they do, it's going to be different. And they're talking about, what they're talking about here right now, I don't know that they're going to do this, but they're talking about just having the kids go, like have half the kids there every day. So the kids would go every other day. And then when they're at home, do online classes at home every other day, which is going to be a nightmare. I mean, I'm thinking about, parents that have younger kids. If you work during the day, you're going to have somebody there to watch your kid because they have online classes to do. There's going to have to, if they can't stay at home by themselves, it's going to be awful. And I think about it too. Parents that have kids in more than one school, they may be on totally different schedules. You may have a kid at home every day. And it's just, I'm really glad that overall hopefully won't affect me very much. I hope not. I can just imagine though, when my kids were smaller, it would have been awful. I don't know what I would have done. Having a kid at home every day or every other day or whatever. I don't know how I would have done that. And you'd still have to go to work every day. I don't know. I really don't know how parents are going to handle it. But, so anyway, I said all that to say that right now nobody knows what's going on. It's going to be very weird, probably. I don't know if it's going to go on all year. I don't know what they're going to do. Like my older son goes to a huge school. For this area, it's a large school. And my younger son is going into a pretty big school too. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think even if they cut the attendance by half every day, that's still a lot of kids that are going to be there. So they're not going to be able to keep them 6 feet apart. There's no way. Okay, but let's just pretend for now that none of that exists. If we're talking about just regular life, let's just look at it that way. Let's just forget about all that. I like to forget about it because I can't do anything about it. There's no sense worrying about it right now. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. I don't know if they're taking suggestions from the parents or not. So far, they haven't. They just basically come out and say, well, here's how it's going to be. And we don't really get a vote. Going from one school to another is always stressful. Oh gosh, I can tell you from my experience, I started out in an extremely small school. And when I say small, it was a church school. And when I graduated from the 5th grade from this school, back then it only went up through the 5th grade. When we graduated, the entire 5th grade only had 10 kids in it. So there were 10 of us in the entire grade. So you were really limited as far as the friends you had. You were very limited. You kind of had to get along with everybody because, You didn't really have any other choice. It's like, well, you can either be friends with these people or you don't have any friends. And it's good, yeah. So it had its good side and it had its bad side. I mean, I don't know. But it was a huge adjustment going from that to a public middle school. It wasn't even a big school by most people's standards. Okay, so middle school, I know in a lot of areas they have junior high that are 7th, 8th, and 9th, but we have middle school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And then for high school, you have 9th through 12th. So I go to middle school, which is a public school. And there were only about 300 students in the entire school. But to go from a school, the entire school, kindergarten through 5th grade, had maybe 40 kids in it. To go from that to a school with 300 kids was a real shock for me. And it was really hard to adjust. I had a rough time in the 6th grade. I had a hard time adjusting to it. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. It was too big. It was too loud. It was just weird to me. The whole concept, everything about it was different. It was just weird. And I was a very quiet, shy kid. I was scared to talk to anybody. You know, I would just sit there and not talk. I had a hard time making friends. It was a rough year. But and that's true for a lot of people. Whether you're shy or not, it can be scary to go from one school to another. If you're in a family that's moved and you have to start all over at a new school, that can be intimidating. One thing to remember, even though it may not look like it, it's most of the kids you're going to see on that first day are just as nervous as you are. It may not show in the way they act or the things they do and say. They're probably just as nervous as you. Deep down inside, they're terrified too. So you're not alone. You're really not. Everybody goes through times when they feel awkward. They maybe feel out of place. They're nervous. Everything is new and unfamiliar. And it will get better. It got better for me. One thing that made it harder, though, when I got into the 7th grade, I thought, okay, I've adjusted to this. I'm going to be all right. Got into the 7th grade, and the first day of school, this girl picked me out to bully, basically, to harass mercilessly every day. I didn't even know her. I'd never met her. I didn't even know her name. But she singled me out that first day and picked on me every day, all through 7th grade. And we had, so in our middle school, you stayed with the same group of kids all day. So you had your homeroom class and you went to every class together as a group. And that changes in high school, fortunately, which was such a relief. So if there was somebody you didn't want to be around, you probably didn't see them all day like that. But this girl tormented me the entire year, and I was too ashamed to say anything to anybody about it. I never talked to anybody about it. I think there were at least a couple of teachers who were aware of it. They just didn't get involved. They didn't see a need to do anything about it. And she made my life pretty miserable that entire year. And then I got into the 8th grade, and she was in my homeroom again and did it the entire 8th grade too. So that was awful. That has absolutely nothing to do with what I was going to talk about, but I just remembered her. And when I think back to the one thing that made middle school horrible for me, I see her face. Because she got her friends to do it. So I couldn't even walk down the hall without a group of girls just, dragging me, just saying, criticizing my hair or my clothes, the way I walked. They would even make fun of, I don't know how you walk weird, but apparently I did. And they just criticized everything about me and made me feel like absolutely less than zero. I felt like a nobody. And it really messed me up. Fortunately, though, and here's what, I guess this is the point I'm trying to make. First of all, don't do that to people. And if somebody is doing that to you, speak up. I don't know that it would have helped me, but I kind of wish I had had the strength to try to do something to stop it, and it wouldn't have gone on for 2 years. I used to try to fake stomach aches to get out of going to school because I didn't want to face her. I didn't want to deal with her anymore. I tried ignoring it, and it never stopped. You know, that's what people would always say, oh, just ignore it, they'll stop. It didn't stop. She never stopped. She did it endlessly for 2 years. And, when you're young, I guess you don't think that the things you do and say really affect other people that much. They do. Trust me, they do. I don't know why she singled me out. I don't know. I did nothing to provoke it. I don't know why she picked me out. She just did. She didn't do it to anybody else in the class. It was just me. It was just me. And but the good thing is, I was nervous going into high school. Starting 9th grade, I was very nervous. But the great thing about it was I got away from her. And that was one of the great things when I realized, when I went through the first day and she was in none of my classes, I was overjoyed. I thought, oh my God, I'm free of her. I was taking all college prep classes and she wasn't. And when I found out she wasn't, I was like, I'm probably never going to have to deal with her ever again. And I didn't. I don't think we had a single class together the entire 4 years. And I was free of her. And I almost never saw her in the hallway. I never had to hear from her, and it was wonderful. So it was scary, and the high school was bigger than the middle school. And again, 300 kids may not sound like a lot, but when you go from one where your entire grade only has 10 kids in it, 300 kids is a lot. And the high school I went to had maybe 700 kids in it, which again, that's not big. I know my son's school is way bigger than that. Way, way, way bigger. It's so big that he'll graduate with kids he never even met. He wouldn't even recognize them if he passed them on the street. I don't think I'd want to go to a school that big. The good thing about going to a school with like 700 kids in it, though, was that you really get to know people. You kind of get to know each other, which I personally liked. I've kind of gone off track of giving advice. Be nice to people. If there's somebody who's new, go talk to them, say hello, introduce yourself, offer to show them around, or, invite them to eat with you. Or there's nothing worse than seeing the new kid eating by themselves. Oh my gosh. I actually, when someone who's still a very dear friend of mine, even today, was in my 6th grade homeroom, and I was sitting by myself at lunch, and she came over and sat with me, and she introduced herself. And she said, hello, this is my name. You want to be friends? And I said, yeah. And we were like best friends all through school. And we are still friends today. It's awesome. Because she did that one little simple thing. I would have never gone up and introduced myself to her, but she came up to me and it made my day. It did. It made my day. Go talk to the kid, maybe that doesn't have any friends. I think you would be surprised. A lot of times kids get reputations that they don't deserve. Maybe they get a reputation for being weird or creepy, but it could just be that they're shy, they're quiet, and they don't talk much. But if you just take a little time to get to know them, you may be surprised. They may be the best friend you ever had. Don't automatically judge people based on what other people tell you about them. Get to know them yourself and see what they're really like and make up your own mind about it. And I know that's hard when you're young, because you want to go along with what everybody says. You want to be accepted. You want to fit in. I get it. And some people never outgrow that. They're still that way as adults. They run their whole lives based on what other people think. You're really limiting yourself if you do that, and you're going to miss out on a lot of good experiences if you won't allow yourself to make up your own mind about things. But keep in mind, if you're nervous, if you're scared, You know, like if you're the night before and you're trying to decide what to wear and you can't make up your mind, you know, just keep in mind there are hundreds and hundreds of other kids out there doing the exact same thing the same time you are, and they feel the same way you do. They may not show it, you may not ever see it, but they don't have it all together as much as you may think they do. They're, you know, we all feel scattered and weird sometimes. We all feel like we don't fit in sometimes. It's totally normal. And try to find the people that make you feel like you're put together and you do belong. And stick with those people. It's tough, I know. Growing up in general is tough. Just growing up is hard. Going from a kid to an adult it's a heck of a transition. It is rough. It's rough for everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have going for you. It, in some way or another, is hard for everybody at some point. It just is. Try to make the most of your experiences. And don't let other people decide your fate. You know, if you know what you want to do when you grow up, pursue your dream. Don't let somebody try to talk you out of it unless your dream is to be like a career criminal or something. That might not be too smart, but if you want to grow up to be a welder, pursue it. You know, go after it. If you want to, I don't know, if you want to be a musician, pursue it. You know, now granted, not every job is going to pay well, and you may have to do something to earn money while you're at it. But if you have a passion for music, don't let that fall by the wayside. Hang on to the things that you're passionate about. Even if other people think it's stupid or lame or whatever, don't worry about it. And I think the most important thing I could tell you, if you're getting ready to graduate from high school, or if that's coming up for you, I know things can seem really super important to you right now, like it's the most important thing in the world, what this person thinks or what this person said about you or what this person thinks of you. I know it can seem like it's the biggest thing in the world, but I promise you it's not. It's not. Once you graduate, a magical thing happens. It's magical. The deck is reshuffled. You get, if you want to, you can start over. You can completely rebuild yourself. You can go out into the world and get away from those people. That's kind of how I saw it in some ways. I was getting away from people that were dragging me down. I had kind of gotten in with some of the people I like to hang out with. Were kind of like crabs in a bucket. You know, the crab bucket syndrome. I don't know if you've heard of that, where if one crab tries to crawl out of the bucket, the other crabs kind of grab it and pull it back down. I was hanging out with some people that were trying to keep me where I was. I wanted more for my life than that. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to have a different life from the people I was hanging out with. You know, they were all high school dropouts, in and out of jail. I was hanging out with some pretty rough people. I was engaged to one of them, as a matter of fact, when I was 16 up through 18. And, you know, when I told them I wanted to go to college, they just laughed at me and said, "You can't hack college. Seriously?" They were trying to pull me back down in that bucket by saying, you can't handle college. Well, deep down, I knew I could. And I knew I wanted to at least try, because I didn't want to end up like them. I didn't want to end up just making money however I could, often illegally, and being in and out of jail and, you know, losing my license periodically for drinking and driving. And I didn't want that kind of life. I don't even know why I was hanging out with people like that, but I was. They're fun to party with, but that's not a lifestyle I was interested in. You can graduate college and go out into the world and do anything you want, but don't let other people dictate to you what that is. Don't let other people tell you what you should do with your life. You have to decide that, and you have to live with the choices that you make. Good or bad, you're going to have to live with the choices you make. If you choose to drop out and commit crimes, you're going to have to pay for that, like the people I was hanging out with. I didn't want that kind of life. So even though they said I would never make it and they laughed at me, I said, I don't care, I'm going anyway. And they said, oh, you'll be home by Christmas. I, in 4 years, graduated 3 credits shy of a double major. So apparently I could handle college, turns out. And I was on the dean's list almost the entire time and had a job and was a research assistant on top of that. So don't let other people tell you what you can't do. The good thing for me was telling me I can't do something is like daring me to do it. You tell me I can't do something, I will do it twice and take pictures because I can't stand for somebody to tell me I can't do something. I'm not capable of it. Oh, please. You're capable of it too. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. And be the person who goes to their 10-year reunion and no one recognizes you. That is amazing. And I definitely recommend going to the reunions. They are so much fun, and it's something you can keep in the back of your mind during those 10 years. I want to become the person who goes to my high school reunion and nobody recognizes me. I don't look that different than I did when I was in high school, but inside I'm different, and I think it shows on the outside. In high school, I was basically invisible. Like, most people didn't even, they knew me, they knew who I was, they didn't really know me, you know. I was very quiet, I was very withdrawn, I didn't talk much. People knew me, but they didn't know me. So when I go to reunions now, people just assume I'm there with somebody that went to school there. They assume I'm somebody's wife or girlfriend. I'm like, we went to school together for years, and they're looking at me going, I have no idea who you are. The 20-year reunion was really bad. There were people going and looking at the yearbooks because they didn't believe it was me. They said, there's no way that's you. But it is, though. Why is that so hard to believe? And I don't think it's because I look different. I really don't. I think it is because I am different. I left there. I got away from the small town. That's what worked for me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with small town, but for me, I got away from there. I got away from the people who were trying to hold me back. I went out into the world and I worked hard. I made the decisions I made, and I basically became a different person. I'm not the person I was when I went to school with these people. And when they say they don't know me, they're kind of right. They don't. They knew the stunted version of me that I was back then, but I went out and took chances and worked hard to become the person I wanted to be. And it's hard and it's scary as all hell sometimes to get away from the comfort zone that you're used to. But one of the great things, though, about graduating from high school, you can do anything. You can do anything. You really have a blank slate, and you can put anything on there you want to. Don't let what these people say about you hold you back. If you had a reputation for whatever negative thing, that's not going to matter anymore. None of those people will matter. Once you graduate and walk away from there, none of those people matter anymore. It's like they disappear. And you can go on out into the world and make your life whatever you want it to be. And they don't have any say-so in it. And it's awesome. It's awesome. You will fail sometimes. Things may not work out, but keep going. And keep in the back of your mind, I want to become the person they don't recognize at the reunion. I want to walk in there and just blow their minds. They just won't believe it. And keep working towards that goal. Just keep it in the back of your mind. When I go to the 10-year reunion, or the 20-year, or whatever, when I walk in there, I want to blow them away. Not literally. I'm saying I want them to be just speechless. That's what I want. And I want to be able to walk up to the person who tormented me and say, how you doing? And look them right in the eye and talk about how great my life has been since I left there. She never got out, by the way. She's still there. And I got to do that at the 10-year reunion. She didn't come to the 20. I got to see her. And I got to walk right up to her, shake her hand, look her in the eye, and say, "How you doing? Remember me? I remember you." It was glorious. It was glorious. It was beautiful. Oh my God. I wish I had a video of that. I would replay it every day because it was awesome. Okay, if you're going to college, or if you're not going to college, I want to say one thing. You don't have to go to college. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I wouldn't have said that 20 years ago. When I was in high school, back in the late 80s, early 90s, they told everybody, you have to go to college. You have to go to college. Of course you're going to college, right? What's the other option? Of course you're going to college. Everybody goes to college. You have to. I took the college preparatory classes to go to college. And that was my goal. I wanted to go to college. Originally, I wanted to be a veterinarian. But then I changed my mind and decided to pursue psychology. But then in my senior year, I decided I didn't want to do that. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do that anymore. And I was terrified because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went ahead and finished the degree anyway because I was this close to finishing it. But back then, a college degree was a rare thing, and it could help you get your foot in the door in a lot of different companies. If you had a 4-year degree, you could get an entry-level position in a lot of different fields. It was very valuable. But anymore, it seems like it's not so valuable anymore. You basically have to have a master's degree to get your foot in the door, which I don't have. College may not be the way you need to go. There are other options. But see, when I was in school, the other options were presented as things that only kids who couldn't handle college should pursue. Maybe you're not college material. Why don't you go try a trade? A vocational school would be good for you because, you're just not college material. They made it sound like people who went into the vocation, going into the trades were less than. And that bugged me back when I was in school. The way they would kind of, get their nose up in the air about the kids going to college and the kids who pursued a vocation. It really bugged me. Like, you're kind of talking about them like they're less than, and they're not. College is not for everybody. Vocational schools are not for everybody. We all have different talents. We have different desires. We want to do different things. There are a million different reasons for either going to college or not going. But as a lot of people today know, you can go to college and spend an obscene amount of money and come out no better off than you were when you went in. And I knew a lot of kids whose parents pressured them to go to college when they were in high school and they didn't want to go. I knew one guy in particular who didn't want to go to college. He didn't. He had no desire to go to college. But his parents pressured him to go and said, "Oh, you're going to college. You're not going to embarrass us this way." What would people, what would the Joneses think if you didn't go to college? Of course you're going to college. We're going to pay for it, and you're going to go. He didn't want to go. He went for a couple of years and then got sick of it and dropped out. He didn't want to go to college. He wanted to work. He wanted to do HVAC work, heating, air conditioning. That's what he wanted to do. And so he went to school for that. And I don't know how his parents felt about it. I kind of lost touch with this person, but he went to school to do that. And this was somebody that I knew long ago. But so he went to school to learn about that and started doing that. And he now owns his own HVAC company and is making gobs of money, way more than I will probably ever see. And he's happy. He's doing what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go, but his parents made him go. I would say unless you know what you want to go to school for, I don't know that I would automatically say you should go. If nothing else, you can go to a community college and get your basics, and it's way cheaper than going to a 4-year college. And again, I know people are going to message me. I always get messages when I do these videos. How dare you give that advice? My situation was such and such, and how dare you say that? Well, it's not going to apply to everybody. Ultimately, like I said, you have to decide what works for you. And that applies when your parents or your peers are telling you what you should do, and you're sitting there, but you're thinking, but I don't want to do that. But you do need to have a goal. Your goal cannot be laying on the couch playing video games. You need to have a goal. My son actually is thinking about going into a vocation himself. And the school he goes to actually has programs where they work with local companies that will pay for them to go to school, and they will even pay them a salary while they're in school, when they're in high school. And if you go through the program, by the time you graduate high school, you will have your 2-year degree. You will have an associate's degree, and you will get that at the same time. It's awesome. I wish they had had something like that when I was in school. That's amazing. And he's thinking about doing something along those lines. I totally support it. If that's what you want, you can do that. And, later, if you decide you want to go to college later, there's nothing stopping you from going later. You don't die when you turn 25. I mean, you can still go back to school. In fact, you don't believe it? My mother, at 70, went back to school and got her master's degree in psychology. She went to grad school at 70 and graduated with honors with her degree in her master's in psychology. So it's never too late. As long as you're breathing, you can still change your life. You can still do something different. I told my son that. I said, if you want to go do this for a few years, that's awesome. It can give you some time to save up some money. It's a field where if you get into it and you do a good job, you can make really, really good money. Like a welder, if you get into specialty welding, you can make over $100,000 a year doing specialty welding. And I know in this area, they are begging for people to do it. There are always positions open for it. But you have to have the special training and everything. But, if you're looking to make money, and you don't end up with all that student loan debt either. So if you don't have a problem getting dirty and working, you can make really good money in different fields. I've learned a lot about it because of my son. And he said, that's what I want to do. And I said, that sounds good to me, if that's what you want. And he's learned a lot about it. And he said, I've decided this is what I'm interested in. Sounds good. So you do have to have a plan. And your plan cannot be laying around in your parents' house doing nothing. That cannot be part of your plan. I've already told both of my kids that. That cannot be your post-high school graduation plan. You got to have a plan. So I don't know what my younger son's going to do. We'll see. But just know that there are other options out there. And if you don't go to college, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. As long as you are moving forward and trying to improve your life, you're fine. But you have to grow up. That's another thing. You do have to grow up. Adulting is not something that you do when you feel like it. A lot of kids have a hard time transitioning from being a teenager to being a grown-up, and eventually you have to make that change. You have to make that transition and take care of yourself, clean up after yourself, pay for your own stuff, and you can do it. There are plenty of ways that you can live your life. You don't have to follow a prescribed track. You can go any which way and be way happier with your life than you ever imagined. You never know. It's worth a shot. And if you don't like the track you're on, you can change it. And that applies to anybody. If you're not happy with your life, figure out what you're not happy with and start thinking of ways that you can change it. There may be something you can do. People don't like it when I say that either. I get hateful messages about that. How dare you say that? My situation is this and I can't change it, so your advice is crap. I'm not talking about outlying situations where you truly can't change your life. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about literal, limited. I'm not talking about that. But if you're in a job you don't like, you can change that. Start looking around and trying to figure out something else. You can take online classes. You could go to night school. It takes a while. My mother did that to get her 4-year degree. She took classes at night after work for quite a few years to get her degree. And it was very hard for her. It was very hard, but she did it. And with her degree, she was able to get a better job in a better place from where she was. And she was very, very happy she did it. And today you have more choices than ever with online classes and stuff. My mom would have loved that, but this was back in the early 80s when they didn't have that kind of stuff. You're going to have to work hard for whatever you want to pursue in life. You're going to have to work hard. You are. And you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to give up money or time or energy. You're going to have to sacrifice. If you really want something, you have to be willing to do what it takes to get there yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand it to you on a silver platter. You're going to have to go out there and get it yourself. And part of getting what you want in life is learning to be a grown-up. You got to grow up. And I know people who are my age who still haven't grown up. And it's embarrassing, quite frankly, to see. It's really uncomfortable and unfortunate, but some people never really have to grow up, and it's not good for them. A lot of people never do. So yeah, it's hard. It's scary, but it can be a wonderful thing because it is stepping out of your comfort zone to transition in life as a young person, to go from high school to college or from high school to whatever you decide to do. It's a big change, but you'll be okay. You will make it. It will become more comfortable. It's a phase and it will pass and you will become comfortable. And just know that while you're uncomfortable, like if you're starting college this fall, and I remember when I went off to college and I'm on a campus with thousands of other people, thousands of other kids, and I'm 17 years old and I'm freaking out because this was a huge school. And it seems like everybody else has it together and everybody else is totally fine. They're not. They're not. They're just really good actors. And to other people, you probably look like you're fine too. You're all scared to death. You're all nervous. You're all unsure how it's going to go. So just go up to another new person and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. You want to be friends? Just strike up a conversation with somebody. It could really make their day and your day too. You never know. So I kind of rambled, but that's my advice. Hang in there. Think for yourself. Decide what you want for your future. Work hard every day. You need to work every day toward your goals. Try to make strides every day toward whatever your goals are. Don't let other people get you down. Don't let them hold you back. Especially people that are not even part of your life anymore. Try to ignore those voices in your head from the past, who maybe talked to you and bullied you and harassed you and tried to make you feel less than. Don't listen to that. Just tell them to shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. Tell them, you don't know me. You don't know me. And they don't know you. You got to get out there and learn about yourself. You got to get to know yourself. And I think you will surprise yourself. You will find out what you're really capable of, how strong you really are, and how capable you really are. And it will give you confidence that you've never had before. There is nothing like working hard and then achieving the goal that you had for yourself. If you want a self-confidence boost, that will do it more than anything. Work hard to achieve a goal. It's the best feeling in the world. Oh my gosh. And it's like a springboard. Like, I did this. Let's see what I can do now. If I can do that, I bet I can do this too. I know I can do this. And you just keep going and you just keep building on it. And next thing you know, it's reunion time and you can strut in there and walk right up to somebody and say, how you doing? Remember me? And they won't. And it will be awesome because you can tell them who you are and they won't believe it. They'll be speechless and it's amazing. So hang in there and do your best to be the person that I know you can be when you get out in the world. And I hope that you enjoyed my advice. Again, it's just advice. It's your life. You can do with it as you please. But I will see you again really soon. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.